Nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You love to hear it, episode 27. We got Jack in the booth, baby. How we doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I feel like we're doing good. We got another flight from Norway to Norway later on, so we figured we'd try to knock out a banger for you guys. There has been so much chaos going on from the past couple weeks, and me and Jack have like kind of a crazy backstory that I don't think really many people know. So I feel like we don't want to go too deep into the biography, but it's got to go down. We got to get some details because we have a beautiful history. So why don't you take it from the top, from your 11-year-old perspective, and let the people know how we met.
Let's go deep.
Yeah.
So I was 11 years old. Casey was about the age that I am now, which is 22, right? 23. Yeah. And I was just starting to ride at Mount Snow, and Casey was a coach at Mount Snow, and it just so happened that I was on the Mount Snow comp team. He was one of the coaches at the Mount Snow comp team, and we loved him so much that first year, and he taught me so much that my parents decided to steal him from the rest of the kids, and he was my private coach for a season. And
how long had you been snowboarding at that point?
8 years probably already.
So you started at 3?
Let's correct the math on that. I started when I was 5. I skied from the time I was 1 or 2 till the time that I was 5.
So about 6 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was saying earlier that he was 11 years old, but he kind of had the body of an 18-year-old. He hadn't fully hit the growth spur yet.
Of an 8-year-old.
Of an 8-year-old, yeah. And so people would be seeing me at the top, letting this kid that I was coaching, this Grom, heaving back fives, and he was thrown down for sure. Absolutely impressive, but he was getting like the wow factor of what it would be like if a 7 or an 8-year-old was chucking. And I feel like as much as I was coaching you, it was more of like a friendship, chaperone, mentor, like somebody to be at the mountain with. And then when you needed it and when the time came, whether you asked me or whether you were actually like really doing something wrong that I wanted to fix, is when I would break down some crowbar style snowboard mathematics for you. And what's your take on like how our relationship was there? Because I feel like I almost wanted to make a good impact on you as a person just as much as I wanted to make you a good snowboarder.
I think being a life coach is just as important or more important than the snowboarding aspect. And I was actually 13, I think, when you were privately coaching me. And I think that was the perfect age to have someone like you take me under their wing and just show me the ropes, more of just an all-around being a human rather than just the snowboarding. As a 13-year-old, following you and Jeremy Ellenberg and Levi Gunsberg and Steve Lauder and like just all these guys that might not even remember who I am at this point because I was so young.
Oh, they know. I mean, you were on the Dank Habits crew. Little 11-year-old.
And Jamal, of course. And Brent.
Around the Dank Habits crew making it in freaking full edits. And I feel like that's a huge part of snowboarding that people can overlook is like, yeah, doing tricks and all that stuff is important. And even taking care of your body and stuff is important. But having the mental game and when it's raining or something, trying to remind you like, yeah, maybe it's terrible out, but like we're still going to have fun. We're still going to progress today, even though you were the actual Grom that's like, yo, we're riding in the rain regardless. Yeah. I was the one who would ride Monday through Friday, complete exhaustion, practicing, trying to become a professional level snowboarder myself. And then the weekends would hit and I'd wake up like, oh God.
Do I really have to go out with this little Grom right now?
Do I really have to wake up earlier than I normally would any day and be the first one there? And the weekends open up at 8. So it was like, yeah, that's a huge part of snowboarding that I feel like, yeah, it kind of was it was a good little mix that we had going on there. And there was a lot of things that I remember just being like let's dial in this aspect of like a little consciousness at 11, 12, 13 years old, dropping a little life hacks.
Dropping some roots here and there.
Yeah, it was
dropping some seeds.
It was crucial. And then we did like basically 2 years-ish. We rode together a lot. And then I kind of, what year was that?
If I was 13, that was around that 2014, 2015 season.
Because I moved to Colorado with Jamal 2015. So you nailed those years perfectly. And then there was kind of like a 2 or 3 year lapse until I started doing the vlog. And were you going to high school? Like, keep leading us through your snowboard aspect career while you were still a Grom and I disappeared from the East Coast. What'd you end up doing?
Yeah, so we split off when I was 13. I think we just said 2014, 2015. The next year, that was my freshman year of high school. So at that point, I had been living my entire life in Brooklyn, New York, and everybody who I was, I guess you could say, a contemporary with in my snowboard competitive scene, they were living in Vermont, doing the full-time academy thing, and I was just looking at all of them like, oh man, if I am going to continue competing with these kids, we need to start making that happen. So my parents and I moved to Vermont. I started high school. I went to Burton Academy in Manchester, Vermont from, during the snowboarding off season. And then during the snowboard season, I went to Mount Snow Academy. That's where I met Crowbar, Tommy Burke, Tyler Reedus for a couple years there. Shout out. And here and there, you would start coming back to the East for a little bit once the vlog started. And because you were friends with Crowbar, you would link up with the Academy kids and we would all be like, oh my God, Casey's coming to town. And we would get like a couple clips in the videos. This is super early on.
Yeah, 2017, 18.
Yeah, and that's when, that's what happened there.
To backtrack just a touch, the years when I was doing the Mount Snow competition team and Devo team, shout out to the way that they built that infrastructure. I was competing with the Groms, with the 10 to 15 year olds that I was driving and bringing to the events and coaching through. I would get a little section where, okay, you guys are all good. You guys did your runs. Now it's time for the open class. And then I would get to snowboard and do my runs. And you were 10, 15 years into snowboarding and I was only 2 or 3 years into snowboarding. And we had like almost polar opposites where you had been snowboarding so much and so much competition that like that was your whole life. And mine up to that point was I had like the 10 years, maybe 5-10 years of weekend warrior, Stratton Sunday pass, just straight glades in the woods, 1 day a week, maybe ride like 20 times a year. And I was so hyped on like entering into that, like it wasn't pro, but like that circuit type of snowboarding. And yeah, how do you remember like recalling the balance between like, would you like more doing the contests or doing the park riding at Mount Snow and riding with your friends? And like, what was the balance of that like?
Well, secretly, I used to dread competitions during the weeks leading up to them. It was so much stress. There was so much riding on it. There was so much money being put into it that I felt this overwhelming sense of pressure that I couldn't really feel comfortable telling anybody about. It was this overwhelming sense of pressure that I had to succeed because there were so many resources going into it. But that all being said, I really did enjoy a lot of other aspects of competition. It's so fun when you land a run, all your homies are at the bottom going crazy. There's tons of incredible feelings that come with competitive snowboarding. But when you're a 13 to 17-year-old kid, that is so much pressure and so much stress. So I always would relish the moments of, and there weren't very many moments like this, of being able to just ride with your friends, no training going on, no coaches telling you that you have to do this right now, you have to do this right now, just fully free riding. And there really, like I said, there really wasn't too much of that for a long time.
What was the living at the mountain at Mount Snow Academy like? Like everybody knows, like Zeb went to Stratton Mountain School, Grenier went to Mount Snow Academy, like a lot of the most amazing snowboarders that have come out grew up at a super young age, prioritizing snowboarding during good conditions when there wasn't many people there, but also making sure that school was a huge focus. Like, what was that like? Before you do that, I remember when I was coaching and I used to tell my mom, I was like, you should see what I'm doing right now. These kids are freaking 10 years old and they're chucking freaking backflips and they have coaches and they got filmers and all this dedicated stuff. Like, this is absolutely insane. I wish I did this. And my mom is so amazing that like I could feel she felt bad. And she's like, I wish that we knew this. I wish that I knew that you wanted to snowboard. We would have done whatever it took to try to make that happen. What was that like?
It was amazing. It was amazing. Even this morning, I was talking to one of the kids that I went to snowboard school with, and we try to, remind each other all the time. We were so lucky. That was insane.
Fortunate. It wasn't luck.
It wasn't luck.
You guys were grinding.
You're right.
The parents
were grinding.
Work.
Yeah.
Working overtime. Holidays.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. Picture, I don't even know. It was like college, but every single person in your college is in love with the same thing that you are. You're living on the resort. You're snowboarding full time. It's unbelievable. And you completely take it for granted at that age. You're like, oh man, do we really have to snowboard again for the 7th time this week? It was just, I don't even know how to describe it.
You say it was like college, but if college had what, 20, 30 people total? How many years of public school did you do before you went to Mount Snow Academy?
Freshman year of high school is when I started Mount Snow Academy. So I did elementary and middle school like a normal kid.
So you developed the social skills first.
Yeah.
Critical.
Yeah. And you could see, that sometimes you could tell the kids who had been going to those snowboard schools for a little longer than the rest.
That's what I was going to say. What was like the burnout situation like? Freaking snowboarding every single day. I know what it's like. I snowboard for a couple weeks. It's the best thing in the world. Best places you could possibly visit. And I get so burnt out on it. I just immediately want to go do something else. What is the burnout? How do you keep snowboarding? I mean, you're Grom, so you have all the energy and you're frothing out of control, but you're locked into the most desolate area in Vermont with one road, 2 restaurants, 1 grocery store, and you're forced to snowboard 5 to 7 days a week. How'd you handle it?
Well, before I answer that, I want to expand upon real quick why I referred to it as like a little mini college. And that's because you get an unprecedented amount of freedom as a 14 to 17-year-old than normal high school. I mean, the 17-year-olds will have cars. You're 14. Everybody's kind of homies because there's no grades or really classes. It's all one-on-one.
How many teachers?
25.
25 teachers?
Yeah, there's probably a staff of 25 teachers. At the most, you'll have 2 or 3 kids in the same class.
Yeah, so I feel like the parents are like really, they want to make sure the education is still happening.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, we could weave around 15 different topics as far as that goes, but let's go back to that. But yeah, the freedom is crazy. You'll be going out with a 17, 18-year-old out on the town. Nobody knows where you're going. It's crazy. And then not to mention when you're in Colorado, the coaches are just trying to do their own thing. So everybody in the planet, it feels like in the snowboard world, is all in Colorado at the same time. So you're linking with all these people from Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Switzerland, Germany, all these places from around America, and you're just all going out, and it's amazing.
Is that just for nationals at Colorado in April, or were you doing other trips? How many snowboarding trips would you do as a group together?
2 to 3, sometimes 4. When Revtar,
aside from the nationals?
2 or 3 aside from nationals usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and then
one a month at least.
Yeah.
Powder riding?
No.
Park riding?
Never POW.
Super oriented park.
Never POW.
Tricks. Get your line dialed in.
Yeah. I didn't even appreciate where I was going as far as the natural beauty and the mountains and the POW.
Because you're just
cab
5, front sev, back 9.
Yeah.
Cab 5,
all day long.
back 9.
All day long. I have those trick names seared into my brain for eternity.
Yeah, literally. I was telling you the other day that when I was 19, shout out B-Dub, me and B-Dub doing the B-Dub and C-Dub show, bailed out on we actually took the wrong route. We didn't take like the 30. We took the 100 to get to Stratton by accident because B-Dub's dad didn't drive the one time, so we didn't even know how to get there. And we drove by Mount Snow and we were like, fuck it, let's just check this place out. Pretty sure we poached, got on the lift somehow, and I saw Crowbar with a nasty line, but I remember specifically Tommy, the absolute G, rock. I think it was a pink board. Something about it was pink. I want to say it was a pink board, and the way that he was grabbing front 7 melon and poking it out reminded me of why I started skating and seeing the style in skateboarding as a kid. Like when you don't really have, you're playing baseball and stuff, and all of a sudden a 15 or 18-year-old skateboarder goes by and like kickflips off some curb and it's just like all G'd up, not pumping Mongo, you know, just proper steez, was like, yo, I want to do that. That was my intro to snowboarding. And I was like, I want to do that. And then by the end of the run, I'm pretty sure I saw Sean Murphy do a off the toe front seven double tail grab. And I'm like, lock it in, sell everything, hit up TCAP because they had the house in Wilmington.
Yeah.
And so him and his brother had season passes and they were both at college. So we would start working out deals. I'd show up at Eastern, throw them a dub. We'd get 2 season passes for the day. We'd use them for 2 days. We'd tell them we only did 1. Sometimes we do 3, tell them we did 2. But honestly, shout out to the Capizone brothers because they assisted helping me with a place to crash up there. And I remember like vividly TCAP and his brother being like, yo, like you're crushing it. You're doing it. Like, this is the dream. We want to be doing that. Like anytime you need anything, come get the pass. Sometimes they would just give it to me, but they're also broke college kids. So you're trying to find a middle ground. I was literally just working, saving money and trying to figure out what to do with it. Come to find out the whole world of snowboarding was up there waiting for me. Such a freaking dream, such a blessing that even happened to lead to us sitting right here, right now. So much has gone down. And then, there was that window where we disappeared for a while. I remember you as 13, and then all of a sudden I came back to Mount Snow. And how old was I? How old was you? Probably 5 years went by, maybe 4, 5, 6 years. You weren't a Grom anymore. You were a full-blown snowboarder in the scene, like had tricks that I didn't have, nasty rail rider. Like, how was the route to college? How was like let's keep touching on the story.
Yeah, so I guess we'll move on to college because that aligns perfectly with that second era that you're referring to. So I went to Plymouth State University, New Hampshire, mega East Coast snowboard college scene there, the only one pretty much.
How far is that from Loon?
20 minutes. Woo! 25, 20.
And that was Loon's prime time then too.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. So Plymouth State, now I'm 18 years old.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so word to Mike Rav being asked by the Bombhole boys. So, Plymouth State, would you say that Plymouth State University in the college years lent themselves well to your snowboarding progression? And Mike Rav said, no.
And why is that?
You're in college. All of a sudden, you are used to the past 4, 5, 6 years having no control over how much you're snowboarding, meaning you're snowboarding 120 days of winter, no matter the conditions, no matter how gnarly you feel, no matter if you got bodied, knuckled Inferno the day before, you're snowboarding.
This is at the academy.
This is at the academy. So now I'm in college. Suddenly, I don't have Tommy and Crowbar breathing down my neck, telling me, you got to get on hill.
And you don't have chicks everywhere, and you don't have parties, and you don't have temptations,
right.
And you don't have the whole freaking, you're 16, now there's
Yeah.
drugs and alcohol, and you're trying to battle with demons of what to do. And
Yeah, so let's get into that.
So it's your snowboarding days on hill went down.
Yeah, so suddenly I am in control of everything to do with my life. And that...
Uh-oh.
So that first season, definitely... my snowboarding, my days on hill rapidly decreased. A lot of long nights, a lot of partying, a lot of waking up at noon being like,
That's what I was going to say. A lot of half days.
Or no days, or no hours on hill. You wake up at noon, you're like, oh man, it's a 25-minute ride to the hill rather than 5 minutes to Corinthia. I got to get food. I got to put all my clothes on. Now suddenly it's 2 p.m. Lifts close at 3:30. It's going to be icy. It's going to be dark.
Sounds like my vlog days, showing up at 3 o'clock, just trying to get a run in.
Just to say you did it.
Just to do it.
Yeah, just to do it. So there was a lot of excuses being made, and I still got out there, and all that being said, I got probably 40 days on hill, and I met a lot of amazing people who reminded me that snowboarding is so much more than the competition, so much more than the pressure. And it just gave me a whole new insight into why I started snowboarding in the first place, why everybody loves it so much. And that was actually also the year that I went out to Colorado, and that was the first time that I looked around and was like, whoa, this is a beautiful place, and there's POW, and there's alpine lakes, and there's beautiful mountains. And I actually looked around and saw how amazing that place was, rather than just those two, rather than just that slopestyle course at Copper.
Yep. Perspective.
It was amazing. And shout out Dana Pack. She put us up for 4 weeks. I said I was going to go out there for a week. She ended up letting us crash for 4 weeks. She took us to Moab. Shout out Dana. She brought me to Moab. She just kind of gave me this whole new lease on nature and the West and made me appreciate it so much more. And so that was freshman year. Then March of that same year, freshman year, that's when COVID started rearing its ugly head. And I saw a couple months later, June, July, that MSA was going out to Mount Hood and you were going to be in a guest coach role. And all I wanted to do at that point, just like everyone else, was go snowboard. So I hit you up and I was like, yo, you think I could get a little spot in an RV for a week or two? You were like, absolutely, pull up, let's get it. And I was like, no way. So I fly out there, same time as everybody else.
Oh my God, is this when you flew in to the airport with Scrizzy?
Yes.
And Scrizzy didn't have a license, and me and
Yeah.
Scrizzy rocked up, and I had just purchased the 4Runner from some sketchy dude on Facebook. Think he stole it from his parents or something. Gave me like a crazy deal, $3,500 for this thing. Bunch of wires ripped out of it. We were on our way up to Hood, and we had to be there the next day to coach the Mount Snow Academy with Crowbar. And we ended up taking a side track, going somewhere on the way, buying this rig, and then Scrizzy. We did it legally. Scrizzy stayed at the car when I bought it because he didn't have a license at this point. And I drove the 4Runner, shout out Derek Warden, to his crib. He dropped it off. He either brought me or I Ubered. There's so many details I can't remember, but back to the NAR, got in with Skriz, drove it to, I don't know how it worked out. There's so much going on, but we ended up where I went to work with Crow, and I think I drove. Somehow we ended up, you and Scrizzy in the Narvi, picked you up at the airport and gave you the key right there, and you had to drive out of PDX in the Narvi. 18 years old.
Freshly 18.
Fresh 18.
Fresh license.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a perfect actual analogy for how the NAR lifestyle is. You got a rude awakening right off the rip. If you want to hang out with the boys, it's going to get different.
Yeah.
So not to mention, freshly 18, like you said, because of all the snowboarding, I only got my license probably 7 months prior to that. I was only freshly able to drive with other people in the car.
1 month in.
And I had never even driven on the West. I had never driven in a city. I had never driven anything bigger than a Subaru Forester. I wanted to make a good impression on the boys. I am 4'0", looking up over the steering wheel, playing Travis Scott.
Scrizzy's all, you got this, bro.
I'm just yapping to Skriz about, oh my God, my first year of college was so crazy.
Oh.
And we brought that thing to Hood.
Parked it right in front of that little plaza there.
That incredible
that thing did
Airbnb.
not move
Nope.
for 2 weeks.
Nobody even ended up sleeping in that thing because Crowbar rented this huge spot. Enough beds for everybody.
I took the couch.
Oh.
I love a good couch. But I was indoors.
You were indoors.
I was inside.
You were in an abode.
I was in a cribby.
So yeah, at that point, I was just so excited to get in the videos, be linking up with you guys.
It got turned up quick, instantly.
Oh yeah,
Bangers, booters. I don't often have people that are hitting 40 to 50 foot booters with me, follow cam proper, and that was sick, dude. We had some good videos come out over that 2 week period there. Was I doing daily at that time still?
I don't know. It seemed like it.
What
It
year was
definitely
that?
seemed like it. That would be 2019.
2017 to 18. Yeah, that was probably right around there if I hadn't done the kidney thing yet. So I was still doing daily vlogs and coaching the Mount Snow Academy. And I feel like you got a little taste of what some hard work looked like then.
Yeah, I mean, that was so inspiring. That was the first time I had really seen any of it in action, and that was quite the time period to jump in on. Because we were just talking about this the other day. I, along with the 15 other Mount Snow Academy little rugrats, all wanted the clips from the day. You're grinding 17 hours a day trying to get this stuff out while also nutritizing, also doing all the stuff that you got to do to keep your body right, while also going super hard at Mount Hood. And so adding all of that on top of all these kids wanting their little board-slide pretzel that they did that day, I was looking at you like, oh my God, this is what it takes, huh?
Yeah, I feel
this guy's building an empire. This is what it takes.
I let people down pretty often with that for years and years. You're trying to show people love. You're cruising around. You're getting clips and stuff. And then you see a homie and you're like, yo, let me get a run of you. So I'm thinking I can throw it in the video. Throw your tag up. Do you a huge favor.
They're thinking, yo, I get some clips of myself that I can put on my phone right now.
Yeah, they haven't had clips in weeks. And they're throwing down because they know they're about to be in the vlog. So they put down a heater. Within an hour of leaving the mountain, I'm getting DMs. Yo, can you send that clip over? Because in their life, if they got clips, they just look at the clips and then they send them over.
Yeah.
And they, like, I understand that
because their boy Timmy filmed it on their iPhone 7.
Yeah, people don't comprehend how much work goes into it because it's unless you're doing it, it's like, how would you know like what's going on? And for me, yeah, to get home and instantly have to eat and stretch and then work out and take care of myself. I filmed all that too, so it took twice as long to film all that. While
and then
that's
you're putting
happening,
that in the video.
It's dumping. Yeah. It's it's almost live, and I'm dumping all this footage. Okay, can I take a shower real quick? Get out of the lake. You know what I mean? Finish up the shower in the lake, and I'm cranking this out. Everything's rendering. I'm looking at my phone. It's 10 o'clock. I'm just looking at their DMs now. They want the clips. I didn't even pull my clips yet. Everything's still wide, and I'm uploading, and I'm trying to run through captions and thumbnails and all this, and it's 11, it's 12 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to make my clips now. It's 1:32. I still have to be at the mountain to coach the next day at 7 a.m. because their groms are freaking out because they went to bed at 8:30 after, you know what I mean, doing trampoline sessions, which I also filmed and edited and put all that. So the groms want, can you send my backflip from the trampoline? I'm like, This is just me. There's not a team here. It was, the daily shout out to me for somehow doing daily full videos for like 600 days, bro. Thankfully, I got blessed with a kidney laceration, and
Thank God you had a kidney to lacerate, dude.
You know what I mean? At least you got a kidney to lacerate. And I'm like 3 days into daily vlogging in the hospital, and I'm like, it's not really that entertaining anymore. Like, I should probably take a day off. And I had this huge burden of like people that were just waiting, because sometimes I wouldn't get the video out from Monday. I wouldn't get it out on Tuesday until like the afternoon or something. And I remember a couple times when I had like 36-hour like international flights, like layovers and stuff in Istanbul, and there was no Wi-Fi, and you'd have like a 2-hour layover and you'd have to get the upload. I remember the best, most vivid memory I have where I was going as hard as I could is, I want to say I was in Istanbul, didn't know the language, using Google Translate, had my computer at like 94%, and I ran out of the Wi-Fi availability, and they were calling my name, and I was checking in, doing the boarding pass scanning with my computer in my hand, and the person that was checking it in was asking me come on, you got to go, and I'm standing in the whatever that is, the tarmac area where you're in between, and I'm trying to explain to them, look, like I'm 500 videos deep right now. I do a video every day. This thing's at 94%, and they literally opened up their phone and hotspotted me right there, and we held the plane for like 10 minutes while I literally used their hotspot, and I was standing like plane right there, plane door, me standing there, 97, 98, 99, boom, publish, 100, thank you, bye, freaking close the plane, 250 passengers take off, we're 40 minutes late.
Wow.
Huge weave, but
oh my God,
the grind was absolutely real, and you were seeing it firsthand there. not realizing that, 3 to 5 years later, you'd be putting in 16 hours yourself over here in Norway doing the same thing, which we'll get to.
Yeah, there's a long way to go.
Yeah, what was after Hood, or keep going through Hood?
Well, first of all, shout out to the Istanbul airport people. Oh my God.
Facts.
Second of all, let the record show he did get all the groms, the clips every night. Let's not act like he didn't. And beyond that, yeah, Hood was incredible. That was my first little taste of what was to come. And yeah, at that point, I was still just so excited to be in the videos. I remember waking up, seeing that a new one dropped, immediately going to check it out, being so proud.
Because you're in it.
Yeah, because I'm in it.
It's so funny how people won't miss one if they know they're in it.
Of course not. Of course. I would never even think about missing any of them.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, so that was Hood. Sophomore year through
Tricky Hood.
Junior, senior year of college. Definitely our paths didn't cross too much. I remember seeing you with Amelia, my ex, one of those days at Mount Snow. And you, first of all, total weave, but you had never even heard of her. You had no idea who she was. And I remember we're introducing each other. You know, we're doing all the introductions. And you're like, oh my God, Amelia, I've heard so many great things about you. He won't even stop talking about you. I'm like, thank you. You had no idea who she was.
I feel like I also said something where you were like, what, bro? I forget what it was. Like, I was like, pretty crazy you got a girlfriend or something like that. I was like, you're wild for having a girlfriend.
Yeah. And I didn't know what you meant because I wasn't super familiar with your philosophy as far as all that goes. But anyway.
Different day, different topic.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like literally the only time after Hood that I saw you until I want to say that day at Brighton.
Great day at Brighton.
That day, that first day.
Leads us into a whole new chapter. What did I do? Did I hit you up or what? Was that the AeroPress day?
No, that was the second day at Brighton.
Okay.
So, I mean, just real quick, yeah, I graduated college. At that point, my parents were living in Vermont still. They still are. And
shout out the Rents, by the way, for dialing you in and the commuting back and forth from New York.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even go
there, and them supporting me as a snowboarder and everything. It's a side topic, but actually, I remember
we could weave.
I remember one time, I think your pops got some laps with us, or maybe he just got a lap. We did like a Long John Gulch, and he cruised with because then they would always go ride the mountain, and I was so cold in the morning, like we were talking about, where I didn't feel like waking up at 7 or 8, but I had to anyways, and I get there and I had a jacket on, and Vermont's just ridiculous, coldest place on earth sometimes, and I just had my arms by my side, and I was just holding the thermal temps in, no movement whatsoever, and I was just leaning, doing my carves all the way until I got to the side, launch jib, and I launched it, probably did a shifty with my arms by the side, just I can't even explain how by my side my arms were, and when we got to the Gulch split off, he said, he probably remembers more than I do, but he was just like, you're really relaxed, when you ride, you really don't use your arms that much or something. And I was like, that's not really how I ride. But I was like, yeah, I'm just cold and lazy. I don't really feel, I'm probably sore. I don't feel like moving right now.
It is true though. You don't use your arms that much.
I mean, so you look at the footy, why did I do that with my arms? That's actually a thing. Why do we roll the windows down? You know what I mean?
Wow.
I feel like it's because we're looking for, normally there's a wall, and if there's a wall, you can fix yourself. And so I remember when I was trying to get better at my style, I'd be like, dude, there's nothing to grab. So you need to understand that and accept it, because you're going to have the same fall regardless of what you do with your arms, but you're going to look way doper if you just leave them by your side. Is there are we really pushing enough wind with our hand to trajectory change even a half of an angle?
No, but easier said than done. You know, when you're put in those positions,
Your whole life,
You're
the
ju-
wall's there.
the wall's there, and I think it's that, but it's also we consciously know that there is nothing that we can do in that moment where we are, you know, freaking out, about to fall, weight's too forward, you're gonna land on your head. There's nothing that we can actually do. So throwing our arms all around is just what our brain is instinctually doing to think that it's doing something.
Is it a cry for help?
Yeah, it's
Is it
like,
a
oh my
hat?
God, there's nothing I can do, so I might as well just, oh my God, it feels like I'm being productive.
Well, side note, for the people watching or listening, you don't need to do it. Fall with some style. Land on your side, just dusty style, till you just hit the ground. Right?
Like I said, easier said than done.
Where's the engineers out there? Where's the aerodynamic geniuses? Let us know. Is the windmill actually doing anything?
Yeah. We got to put some money into that project.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
So continue on.
So I graduate college. I moved to Utah. I'm there for 2-3 months, getting situated. I'm getting a job. I got a job at Woodward Park City. I'm eagerly awaiting my first couple training days, orientation, onboarding, getting situated, truckie onboarding. And the first POW day of the season, it happens. I see that serendipitously, you might say, Casey has also made his home base, or you have also made your home base in Utah, as you know, for whatever that means, whatever a home base means.
Quotes.
Casey decided to put all of his stuff that he has no need for in a house in Utah.
There it is.
And I'm like, no way, that's crazy.
I mean, when you're passing through Utah, you get a couple days in there. Every time I'm there, I'm like, this is the best. It's always POW. It's light. It's everything. So I'm like, yeah, let's throw a bunch of belongings over here in case we need them, which is nowhere near the ocean, so I'll never be here and I won't have access to any of my stuff ever.
Real quick, let me just say, Utah, so much better than Colorado in almost every way.
Opinion.
What do you have to say about that?
I don't know. Colorado's tight. Utah's tight. I have never put all my stuff in Colorado and left. But I did move to Colorado when I didn't have much things with Jamal, and I spent a good portion of the time there. And it was also, well, here's the thing. Colorado used to be something different. We used to have freeway, and we used to have just rec parks in general, and we used to have A51 in the zone. Like that year where Haldor put out that edit at A51, you know what I mean? Like, just was the pinnacle of snowboarding. And I remember Colorado was where the first time that I seen Seb Toots, first time I seen Torstein, first time I seen all these absolute legends and would like get real laps in with them. Utah, I feel like I've always kind of gotten shunned a little bit. I'm always kind of feel a little nervous, and everybody's always kind of staring at you. I mean, it's all about how you take it, and it's all about the years and the times. Utah snow, for sure better. For sure better. Parks used to be better in Colorado 2012-ish.
Keyword.
Pre-epic. Yeah. Yeah, keyword. But
That's two.
I don't know. You got the traffic and the canyons, but you also got the freaking red license plate and the rentals in Colorado. I mean, there's pros and cons of each one of them. I think you got to go back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. There's a lot of talk about that with the scene. You know, there might be a little bit of cool guy action. There might be a little bit of shunning at first.
A lot of good riders.
No doubt about that.
Some of them might not be getting the love that they deserve or getting the respect, so they're a little freaking angry. It makes sense.
Yeah,
But we're not surfing. We're all good freaking friends. We're all riding, sliding on metal. Nobody's too cool for nothing.
No.
Crack a smile. Crack a gray.
Yeah,
crack a gold one. Crack an element.
As far as traffic goes, if you want to avoid the traffic, go to Woodward. If you want the best terrain and the best POW, go to Snowboard. A lot of people want the best terrain and the best POW, so they're going to go up that little Cottonwood Canyon.
True. I'm still claiming Copper. Copper dominates.
Okay.
Best parks. Undebatable. Confusing amount of features.
True.
you go there and you become enlightened as a park person. You just don't realize how you could have had another feature attached to that feature the whole time. You could have put a down bar after the up bar. You could have just thrown a bonk right on the blind side of a dog house. You know what I mean? It brings out a whole new like possibility of snowboarding and park riding, and the rails are always greasy, and there's a sick fun run all the way to it, and the chairlift is so fast. Eventually we'll get to this bluebird freaking this snowbird day that we're talking about.
Brighton first.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Ultimately, just to put a nice little ribbon on that, they're both amazing. Right now, I love Utah.
Perfect.
But I love all of it.
Perfect.
So let me correct my grammar. My friend Brendan and I, shout out Bendy, great kid. We are at Brighton, first POW day of the season. I see that you're in Utah for the weekend, however many days.
Yep.
And
full time.
I hit you up. You're at your new residence. And I see that you're in Utah. And I'm like, yo, get over here. First POW day of the season. You go, is it worth it? I look around. I see rocks. I see barely a dusting. Can't even call it a POW day. I see the biggest lines that you've ever seen in the world. Only one chairlift is open. It's running on half speed. Not worth it at all. I text back with the utmost of confidence. Hell yeah, dude, get over here.
That's a C-Dub 10 out of 10 day. I'm claiming it's firing.
Yeah. So you pull up, you're with a humongous entourage. I'm like, damn, dude, Casey's really got it like this these days, bro. What? It's Scummy. It's Cole. It's Daly. It's
Scummy's got friends.
Gertie.
I got Gertie out there. Gertie's got friends.
It's Marie, right? Marie was there. Yeah, everybody's got someone else.
We had a car detailer on us.
Yeah, it was
not even riding,
just waiting,
just bringing more people up because we couldn't fit them all in the NAR.
Just making trips up the canyon.
He thinks it's all production for Casey Willax vlogs. Nope, nothing's changed since Hood. Still putting 18 hours in a day. These guys are all boozing afterwards and partying, and I'm sitting in the middle of it just editing away.
So I have this crazy perception of what's been going on since the last time I saw you. And anyway, it's another classic day with you guys. I'm just sitting there like, this is awesome. So hyped to be in the video. So hyped to be spending time with these people.
Can't wait to get the clips from him right when we leave. Yeah. He airdrops me them on the way home.
Yeah. Bendy's fangirling because he's been watching you forever. This is his first time meeting you. And we had actually taken the bus up for some reason. Only day we ever took the bus. But you guys offer to bring us back down to Bendy's house. And at some point during that experience, you look at me, you're like, yo, do you got a nice icon pass? I'm like, yeah. You're like, you want to go party in a mansion tomorrow at the base of Snowbird and then ride Snowbird the next day?
Tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. But inside, I'm like, yo, hell yeah.
Hanging out outside of the gear?
Yeah, dude. This is a whole new level. So we're
thinks I rented it.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, he's staying in a mansion.
Thinks it's part of the budget. Thinks we're budgeting. Thinks we have like.
That just completely added to the crazy perception that I already had.
Yeah. Shout out to that homie who has a crib at Snowbird who asked me if we wanted to stay in it for a night.
Literally, if he by any chance has a place in Lofoten, Norway over the next week, that'd be sick.
If anybody's got a crib anywhere and they want the boys to come through and crash, we will stay in the tightest little area, just a little bit bigger than our bodies.
I mean, look where we are right now.
Cellar stoking.
Luxury. So, I pull up to that Snowbird mansion, and there's Snowboard Pro Camp is there, and I forget a bunch of other people, and this is just continuously adding to this allure that I have in my mind. I'm
you
like,
shut up. We had mics set up. We
they filmed. You guys filmed 7 podcasts while I was there. I'm like, yo, this is happening.
I'm editing it all. I'm uploading it all.
So the next morning, there's a couple people waking up a little later than I would be used to during what was to be my first Snowbird POW day. And I was like fully ready to get there at 8, waiting for first chair. and everybody's kind of dragging. Dailies.
We don't do that.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. So I'm, trying to completely go with the flow because this is my first day with you guys, but I'm also in the back of my head like, dude, let's get up there. This is my first day at Snowboard. I just moved to Utah. It's first POW day. So we end up getting up there. Casey, you somehow didn't have any of your gear?
Yep,
Do I remember that
I
correctly?
left all my gear at my house, at my storage house, and forgot that we were staying at Snowbird. Snowbird drove right there and got there and had no gear. Thankfully, we had the car detailer on us.
Yep.
He drove from the crib. He dropped off all the stuff. Shout out Cole, not just car detailer. Shout out Cole. That dude is
Unreal.
a straight good human, dude. Absolute just specimen of a being. The nicest, most just. You just feel protected around the guy.
You really do.
And he's helped us out. He cleaned 10 to 20, no, it's a 94. He cleaned 20, 30 years worth of gnarliness out of the RV before the season started last year. But anyways, he brought the gear 40 minutes, drove it up to the hill, dropped it off. Jack thought it was the assistant that we had running our deck 24/7.
Yeah, I'm still just confused. I have no idea what's going on at this point.
One might call it.
No idea what's happening. So we have an amazing day at Snowbird. It was just awesome. It was so fun. And we break apart. I think you guys spent another couple days in Utah. Literally the next day is my first day of orientation. And I think you guys go off on the RV tour for that year. And secretly, I wasn't thinking that it was realistic because I saw this huge entourage and I'm like, there's not that many beds in the RV. This must be like the full RV tour going on right now. Like, I guess this isn't going to happen this year. But I was hoping that you guys were going to invite me to join you guys on that whole mission. And you didn't that day, but the next day, halfway through my orientation at Woodward Park City, I get the text, yo, we got to get you on a couple stops on the RV tour. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, any day that you guys want me, just let me know. I'll be out there. Drop of a hat, 100%. You go fly out right now or fly out tonight, Denver. And I'm like, okay, you called my bluff. I've got the second day of orientation training for Woodward.
Could I come tomorrow?
Can I come tomorrow? And you go, perfect.
Fly into
Denver. Flying to Denver, find like a $40 flight from Salt Lake.
You were hyped. You're like, I love Colorado. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't wait to leave
place.
I can't wait to leave Utah for my favorite place, Colorado.
Flies in. Instantly driving the RV.
Not quite yet, actually. I don't think I drove for the first 4 days because I was scared.
No, we had you editing, right? We had you doing some clips. Or no, that's when I saw that we would ride. You wouldn't ask me for the clips. You'd ask me for the SD card because you started getting a little weary to the process. And you're like, this kid is editing with headphones in. You're like, can I get the SD card and grab my clips? And then you opened up your computer and you could process the 4K 120 clips that we were filming with, which most computers can't. And you were just hammering stuff out. And I'm like, we might be able to do something with this.
So that was a fully life-changing couple weeks. I mean, that's what I've been wanting to do my entire life, is just live on the road, snowboard in a bunch of new places, be with amazing people that want to do the exact same thing as me. TCAP, Daily, you, squad. So it was just amazing. And the whole time I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. And during that whole time, you and Daily mostly were just dropping little hints here and there. Yo, so when you come to Japan next month, you got to try this new restaurant. You got to try the Sapporos. That was Daily. And I was just like, haha, funny guys. No way is that going to happen. I already just left my job for 2 weeks. I'm going to have to come back there and just grind some hours because I haven't even started working there. And so you guys were just dropping little things here and there. And I was like, okay, whatever. And fast forward, I'm back in Utah for 2 weeks. I'm working my job. You guys come back into town. It's another crazy day at Brighton. We're on the chairlift.
We're back in Utah already?
Yeah. 2-3 weeks, I would say.
Holy moly, we moved quick.
Yeah. That RV tour ended in Florida.
Yeah. And then did we drive back with the NAR? And we were there in the NAR, or did we just fly back?
I don't know.
Perfect.
I don't know. But yeah, so you guys pulled up to Brighton. We had a sick day. And you were on the lift and you just look at me and you go, "You're an editor, right?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "No, I'm not an editor." But I'm like, "Yeah, kind of.
I can edit.
Yeah, I can put clips together in a timeline
That's
with
all
music."
I've ever done. That's all I've ever done.
But I put on a big show. I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm an editor." And you're like, "What if we pay you to come? What if I pay you to come to?"
There you go. This.
What if I pay for you to come to Japan
There it is.
pay for everything? You just, deal with food on your own. And I'm just like, "Oh my God, that is an offer I cannot refuse." But I feel like at this moment I have to refuse it. So I just look at you and I'm like, "Dude, that's an insane offer. I can't say anything right now." But in the back of my head, I'm like, "Dude, if I don't accept it right now at this exact moment, he's going to move on. So I need to give him some sort of security, but I can't because my parents are going to think it's insane. My job is never going to let me come back. This is just not going to be possible." And I immediately leave Brighton, or I immediately call my parents and I call my job after we separate. I leave Brighton and I'm like, "Guys, this is insane, right? Casey just asked to give me a free trip to Japan in exchange for some editing." And they're like, "Dude, how long is it for?" And I'm like, 2 weeks. And they're like, "You have to do it. You have to do it." So I then call my job. I'm like, "Guys, I know I literally just got back from a 2-3 week long trip, but I just got this other insane opportunity." And they kind of said the same thing. You have to do it. It's one of those things that you just have to jump on. And immediately, that's everything that was going off in my head was telling me that. Like, this is something that you absolutely have to capitalize on. It's staring you in the face. This is one of those moments that means a lot more than what it means on the surface.
For sure. I may not be pro at much, but I am a professional at getting people to quit their jobs. You might not have quit, but you already had been off for 2 weeks. You're about to take another 3 weeks off. I also want to say that, yeah, the fact that you said yes was what I was talking about in the last pod, where the youth who wants to hone their craft in and has a dream to accomplish some stuff needs to be willing to take a back seat to some actual money. Well, first you need to already prep yourself and have some money saved so that you can support yourself when an opportunity presents itself. That's what luck is, when opportunity meets preparation. And nice. When that type of thing pops up and it's like, yeah, maybe I'm not paying you cash, but you're saving $1,500 on a round trip flight. You're saving $800 on accommodation. You're saving $500 on a rental car. You're saving $600 on passes. So you're not spending $3,500. You're getting the experience of a lifetime. You're getting to ride, like you said, with the people that you want to do. You're putting yourself in the exact position that you want to. And you're getting a free crash course, which all these entrepreneurs are charging $5,000 to come for 72 hours and learn how to expand your business and blah, 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 blah. And you don't even know what the hell you're getting. You knew what you were getting. You've seen it firsthand. You've seen it online. You've seen it in all the different aspects. And now you're like, yo, this opportunity's here. Reach out to the people that I respect the most. They say yes. Do what's morally right. Ask my job. They say yes. Lock him in. And it was straight up grind time. What was the workload like? How'd that feel?
I mean, this is such a cliche thing to say, but it doesn't even feel like work. You're obviously putting in hours at the computer, grinding with your head down, and you're watching everybody else go have fun in Japan. But I'm having a blast. I'm looking at all the clips from the day. I love sitting on my computer going click clack, listening to music.
You're peeping your footage from that day. And when you say that everybody else is going to have fun, you don't mean everybody else is going snowboarding and you're staying at home. It means everybody else is going out and partying and having fun, and you're missing out on those moments. But you're at the house honing in your craft, looking at banger clips, creating content for yourself. And basically, Jack's job was to take Daly's obnoxious GoPro of just a plethora of way too much footy, 2.5 hours, trim it all up into a proper 10, 15 minutes. And then that has to be aligned timeline chronologically in between the clips of my GoPro, which is also another hour and a half. So you go through all those clips, you dump all the footage, you organize it the way that I want to, you bring it into the timeline, everything the way that I had been doing it, which I honed in the fastest way to do things that I think possible for the past 5 to 10 years. So you're getting that free crash course for not $5,000 to expand your business. And then you're color grading it all. You're doing the cropping, you're doing the keyframing, and you're piecing in all of these different cameras from the iPhone, from TCAP, from the iPhone, from yourself into the timeline. So you had 4.5 hours worth of the daily footage in 5 different chronological orders, all put into one chronological order that looks beautiful. And thank God, 5 years into this grind, I can finally come home, not dump an SD card and stretch. And for fucking hell's sake, maybe I take a nap one time for 10 minutes and rest the eye. Maybe I put the feet up for a second, cook some food. Maybe I go out and I hang out with people and I see what it's like to meet someone for the first time out in the nature. But no, I'm still grinding. But basically, I come in multiple hours into the process, and it's time for me to do what I don't think anybody can do as good as me when it's my footage and my videos and my vlog, is do the editing process. But all of the bullshit in between is already handled. It's time to put your main hours into the thing that you love doing and that you're the most focused on. And the fact that you were willing to do that without actual payment is the reason that it happened, is the only reason that the only way that I could afford it, because it saves me time, and that time ends up hopefully making me more money to even out the investment that I'm putting into the homie, who also is so down to sleep on floors. When we arrived, we slept outside of the train station in the rain the first night. Let's get that straight. And his first thing he said was, I thought it was going to be like this. And I was like, oh my God, I took my headphones off because I was editing in the little undercarriage next to where it wasn't raining. And I was like, huh? And he's like, I figured this is what it was going to be like. And he's putting on his ninja suit, gearing up to sleep in his board bag. And I was like, this kid's a keeper. Let's go.
I mean, I've told this story so many times now, but it will never equal actually how that experience was.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't explain it
with
words. So that's why we try to film it and do the best job that we can.
Yeah.
And show people
I think
that
we
you got to
do a pretty
make
good job.
Crazy sacrifices to follow your dreams, because you can go get a job at any point in time. So if you want to do this stuff, you got to be willing to maybe not shower for a couple days and maybe not have heat when you're sleeping for a couple nights. Throw some extra blankets on. You're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? We're not hovering on death that often.
No. And it's always, those are the things that you look back on and you're like, dude, I cannot believe we did that. You know?
Absolutely.
That's the most fun thing ever, is to look back and think about all the insane things that happened. You think about and relish those moments so much more than when you book a beautiful hotel room and you're sleeping all comfy and fresh linens and you shower right before bed and you feel all cozy.
No.
That's just normal comfort.
Yeah.
When you're kind of breaking down and you're, we could start to talk about how we've been living on this trip, but when you're getting down into the gutter, that's when things start really becoming memorable.
And that's when the universe takes note. And I feel like there's there's a limit to how much you have to endure of brutality before the universe is like, all right, you hit the threshold, here you go. And you saw firsthand, what I was talking about, sleeping outside and the amount of trains and cars and buses and all these things that we had to take, and then sleeping on floors and just being eventually something's got to go right here. Something's got to work out. And then boom, you rock up to Elvis, the K-Bop guy. And he's just like, yo, I got a car waiting for you guys. Next thing you know, we're digging out the car and we show up and we got a free rental for 2 weeks. And then Oshi hits us up and he's like, yo, I know it's $220 everywhere you want to crash right now, but they're not even available even if you did have the budget and want to book it. I got 3 extra beds. If you guys can pull a mattress on the floor, I can put all you guys up for you guys for $40 a night each. And it's just one thing after another. After you put in that excruciating amount of work and you sacrifice so much, the universe is like, here's all the back pay, here's all the reward, and it also makes it so much more comfortable than it would normally be if you were sleeping on the floor after you were sleeping on the concrete wet floor outside of the train station at 1 a.m. with no one around you that speaks the right language. Finally, you're like, yo, this is the dream.
Yeah.
Whew. Dude, first of all,
thinking about it.
I will never forget when we were in that hotel room. Finally, we had really been bumming it for the first couple nights, struggling. Everybody was kind of getting a little frustrated, which is rare, it seems like. But I remember you just, exactly what you just said in real time. You go, how many more days are we going to be getting put through the ringer before we get unbelievably hooked up beyond belief? And I just took that to heart, and I'm like, you know what? I believe him. And sure enough, I mean, it turned out to be exactly like that. And then second of all, I'll also never forget, after all of the sleeping on floors and sleeping on pads and sleeping outside, we finally got hooked up with Oshi's place, and everybody got a bed. We were all in the same room, but everybody got a bed, and you look around and you're like, this is almost too much. This is almost too nice. Like,
yeah, we got to humble our shit a little bit here.
This is
Kill the heat. Kill the heat, open the window.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Get rid of the mattress.
And we're also skipping over the shout out for Jason, because Jason was pre-Oshi, and he had an absolute crib with 10 beds, and we all had an extra bed, and we all had Wi-Fi, and freaking D Bynes was there, and London was there. It was just the ultimate energy possible, full squad. Can't wait for Japan this year. I think we actually have one spot left. One more open spot, and Jack's going to be helping assistant coach for the camp that we're doing this January 9th through the 17th or something like that. One spot left.
Sounds about right.
And yeah, now it's yet again full paid for trip to Japan. Put the work in, showed what it's worth, and now here we are in Norway. We've hit UK, we've hit all these different zones. Like, we've been living that exact same lifestyle that we've been talking about, with basically budgeting like crazy, and it's almost has been too chill this time. We've been spending such minimal amounts of money and getting so hooked up almost all the way that it seems like universally it's just like every day the universe is on our side. It's wild.
Yeah, isn't it funny when you take a step back and everything seems to have this incredible pattern to it? Everything was just, everything happens for a reason. It's another huge cliche term, but it is so true.
There's a reason that these things are cliche.
Right, because it's true. And just sometimes those examples are put on just such clear display, and all you have to do is look back a little bit and you can see it. I mean, do you want to start talking about some of the insane just sync-ups that have been happening, or do we want to save that? Or
the book that I'm reading, which we're going to hover over this topic real quick, but it's Meditation for Mortals. And it's every day there has been an excerpt that has been relating to exactly what's been going on. We're in Norway for the election day. Absolutely insane. All of a sudden, my entire news feed, Jack's entire news feed, every single one that you're swiping on are people who've never posted anything politically before, who've probably never gone down to a town meeting and actually voted on something, but they have this super connection with like their party or whatever it is. And the weirdness of the people who got what they wanted posting about ha ha ha, which is wild because we're all in this together, and like no one should be laughing at each other, and like this evil like and then the people who didn't get what they wanted are just writing like, I'm just happy that I'm smarter than this many million dumb stupid people. And it's just like, whoa, what is going on? Like the true colors were coming out, and it makes sense. It's like a very emotional topic, and the media has spent billions of dollars to get more clicks on things by tweaking stories, and there's lies and there's truth, and you don't know what's going on. And literally with all this going on, I read this chapter all about how like the overwhelming amount of information stimulation that we have is so bad for us because of that manipulation where we don't know what's going on. And it brought up the Trump winning in 2016 thing. And basically at the end of it, it was just like, if you didn't have access to the information to know about all these bad things that are happening in all these third world countries, you wouldn't be able to care about it. And we're like burdened with this moral dilemma of, oh, well, you're privileged if you don't care about it, but you'll be a better person if you're not dealing with those negative, weird emotions and all of this going on. So, like, I don't want to touch on that. I do want to just say that I hope anybody who's done anything and posted anything negative in any way can balance out their energy levels by maybe finding something within that that could come from it that's good. And if you can't find something that's within it that can come from good, just look around and find something good. We all woke up on that day and nothing had changed from the day before, and nothing was going to be different the following day, but it just seemed so heavy in the moment that if you were one of the people who couldn't get out of bed because you were so depressed, everything is the same as it was the day before. Get up, do something good. I got to give a shout out to the homie Quasi, who made one of the best posts ever. Somebody hit him up, completely depressed. How do you think? What do you feel? Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I like helping people. I like doing good for people. And I feel like this is an opportunity for me to help so many people, because so many people need love right now and need positivity. So that's all I want to say, touched on that basis. But the synchronicity is that that book and that chapter, when me and Jack were both like, we swipe, we go through, not only are we trying to research what's going on and stay in tune with the world, but we swipe a little too much sometimes. And it was just, it was just bringing us down. And we were talking about it in the car, and we kept trying to not talk about it, but then be like, oh, did you see what this did? And you see what this person did? And that synchronicity of that book at that time coming in and being like, yo, you need to put all that away and you need to do the best that you can, because when you're the best version of yourself, you're able to enact change. And my whole theory with so many things is you have two options. You can either change something, and something like that, if you can't change it, then you need to accept it, because once you accept it, you're in a peaceful state to where you can be the best version of yourself, and then you can actually have a better chance, better opportunity to change something and to do something for the better. So that was my first little excerpt of connectivity that we had, and that book has been getting crazier and crazier with last night. Shout out Gertie. We offered him the lifetime opportunity. I told him the same thing that I told Jack with Japan, but even crazier. I offered him a free flight to Norway because we need a long lens. It's about to be 35 foot, 12 meters in Lofoten, Norway. And we're
the Arctic, the Arctic Circle.
Arctic Circle. Jack's going to be filming, and he's like, dude, I want that long lens. And if we have the long lens, we need a tripod because the thing weighs freaking 5 kilos. And we begged Gertie. I told him I'd pay for his flight. I'd pay for his bags. I'd cover the hotel on his layover. I would cover the apartment when he got here, all accommodation paid for, rental car paid for, everything dialed. And we also offered him like 10 things before that. And he's just like kind of in a weird spot where he's like, I don't know what to do. I can't pull the trigger. He's like one of those situations. He's one of those people where like you have to be with him to motivate him, kind of like daily. If you're with him, you can shake him and then he'll come. But if he's not, then he's like, can't get the motivation to do it because he overthinks it and all this stuff. And I opened up the book yesterday, and it literally was called like Action is the Answer. And it was talking all about how you're not always going to have the right choice, and you're always going to have all these options of available things that you can do. So if you pick one, you could have picked another one, and you'll never know what was the right one. So you just have to have faith in the process and pick one based off of the main things. And it was even like reach out to someone who you would get advice from, which is what Gertie hits me up all the time for some advice. It like broke down step by step, like reach out to somebody that you know would have a good answer, and then just make the move, pull the trigger, make it happen, and you're going to have the best experience of your life. And it was just breaking. It was literally exactly what was happening. And that Jack was tripping, freaking out. We talked for a little bit, but we were supposed to be going to bed. And like at the moment that I was putting on the mouth tape, because I was completely done and we hadn't really talked about it, I put the mouth tape on, couldn't say anything, and he goes, all right, mouth tape's going on. And I'm like, I had to rip it off, and I'm like, dude, I just put the mouth tape on as you said that. You said what I was talking, like, it's just been so absolutely crazy. What do you got? Throw a universal connection out there.
I mean, some of those are silly, some of those are crazy profound, but overall, you know, the whole trip, it's just really felt like right place, right time. This is all meant to happen. Everything that has happened really seems like this is exactly where we're supposed to be, especially once we got to Norway. And it just really, everything has just felt just deeper than what it is surface level.
If you can't come up with one, I'll drop another one right now. I got
Drop
one
another
just
one. Drop another
sizzling.
one.
Well, you said Norway. We have been doing, well, I got so many, dude. The community is obviously insane. I've tried to share the passion with so many people and find like-minded people to build a community so that everybody can empower each other. And it's obviously I'm the one who did it, so I have like access to all of these people within the freaking Dub Nation, which I try to coin it. And when we were in Cornwall, we were trying to go to the coast to surf. This dude hits me up, Josh, shout out the ledge. Yo, I'm driving from kind of where you guys are. I can scoop you up and bring you to the coast. We're on an absolute whim. He says he can't bring us back though. It's a 5-hour drive. Somebody else shoots me a DM and says, hey, I could probably pick you up in a few days and bring you back. Okay, cool. Screenshot. Hopefully I don't lose that person. On the way there, we get there. Was it on the way there? No, we get there. We surf. He gives us a board. We do all the wave pool and all this. That whole thing was connected. The wave pool was on the way there. We completed the triple threat. It just had everything was alignment there. And then while we're there, I'm walking around the town. I see this lettering on the surf shop. Rock up to the surf shop. I'm inside looking around, feeling this energy. We're not even supposed to be there. Josh and Jack are like, what are you doing, dude? Like, we're going to another surf shop right now. That's the whole premise of where we're walking. We've been walking 20 minutes to the surf shop. It's supposed to hook you up with gear. All of a sudden, I'm like, dude, I feel the stoke. Something's going on. I know this place right now. And Jack's like, dude, there's an Overstoked sticker right here. Guy comes out of the back. Who's out here overstoking right now? Oh, Casey Willax, what are you doing? You guys probably saw the Instagram or the vlog. It already dropped. And it was a homie who had sent me magazines from the UK Surfing Scene magazine. And he was tripping. We've been in touch for mad long. He's been wanting us to come out there, but he'd been off Instagram, so he didn't even know. He gives me a wetsuit. Josh gives us the board. Jack's filming. We deal with this whole situation where everything's just in super alignment. Couple days goes by. The other people hit me up. Shout out to the couple, Yasmin and Nick. They drive 5 hours down. They pick us up from the coast. They get to surf for their first time surfing in the UK. They live there. So we're bringing new adventure into their lives. They scoop us up. They bring us back on the drive back. Coffee homie hits us up. Yo, direct center of your guys' drive at like 7 p.m. when you're going to be exhausted and need a little freaking spruce up. I have a coffee shop. Pull into the coffee shop. Now we're getting re-stoked. We're vibing with him. Then, to wrap the day up, the little Grom homie who's freaking getting forcefully pretzeled at Big Snow on, not anti, it was a mutual force. Hits us up and he's like, yo, I got these extra points that are expiring on this Hyatt. We're looking for a place to crash. Sends me the Hyatt points. We get a free place to crash and a nice luxury freaking joint. Like, it was just insane. All of the connections that went down all within like 24 hours from when we woke up, to the surfboards, to the wetsuit, to the fact. And like, I also think it's a pretty big deal that in the middle of that somewhere there, like, we don't even bring it up, but we lost a $2,000 drone that we have for the trip, like the most critical unit that we have. And like, whatever, get a new one, get bodied. How's your limbs? How's your fingers? How's your head, your brain? Everything is dialed. You know what I mean? You're living the absolute dream out here. You lost a couple clips in a drone like that. We don't let that type of thing take a hold on us. Like the negative stuff, we just allow it to happen, sweep it under the rug. The positive stuff, we freaking overstoke on it. And we're magnetic creatures. We are energetic creatures. The whole world is built up of energy. This couch, this skateboard, these limbs, every single thing that you think is firm is all energy, and it's all resonating at a specific frequency that is attracted. Magnetic poles of the freaking planet. So you're going to get back what you put out there and what you focus on. And that's just what this whole entire trip has been, from front to back, every time that we show up at a resort and the people are hooking us up. Shout out to everybody that has helped in any way. I could go on forever, but this was supposed to lead into, we've been going off of the suggestions of the viewers of the videos. And when we were, so I guess we'll dive into this one heavy, because this is, I really want to touch on this one, and we might wrap it up because this might be a 20-minute altarpiece right now. Torstein Horgmo, my absolute legend, like my hero, the reason I snowboard, the reason that I try to keep my arms by my side, like the reason I back my tricks down sometimes to make it look easier, like the reason I make edits and try to make funny banter and everything, the legend. If you guys remember a couple years ago, he shouted me out in one of his videos, the tour vlog, hadn't dropped one in like a year. He listened to my bomb hole. He got motivated because I was showing him so much love and like reminding him of probably his like golden era days with Haldor and Iki and Ulrich and Andreas Wig and all these freaking legends, and them just laughing, fuck this box, game of in your face and all that. He gave me that shout out, said that I'm the reason he was making a new vlog. That kind of got us connected. Then a couple years goes by, whatever. He hit me up a few weeks ago because he just made a movie from the most insane trip to Japan and the most insane trip to Canada, Whistler, right?
Yeah, Valhalla.
And
Baldface.
he hits me up, randomly slides in the DM and is like, yo, I want to run something by you. I'm like, hopefully I'm not in trouble, you know? And shoots me his number or asks for my number. I shoot him my number, calls me up, and he wants just me to share with my audience, who's the exact same audience of snowboarders, like-minded freaking people who are hyped on life, that like good quality content. And he's like, I got this legendary movie I have put my heart and soul and back and spleen into, and literally kidney. And it's premiering November 21st in Denver. I would love to have you come. And I'm like, no matter where I'm at in the world, I'm going to be there, and I'm down to help promote it. I'm down. And he's like, would love to either get some laps, shoot a YouTube video with you, snowboarding up to the event, or maybe get on the pod and shoot the shit for a while. And I'm just like, yo, 100%, whatever we got to do, I'm there. So we're following the path of these people that are telling us where to go. We end up going to this ski Copenhagen Hill, where we're riding down this freaking renewable energy power plant zone, just having the best time of our life, epic new experience. And we're kind of close to Norway. People are starting to hit us up from Norway saying, yo, you should come to Snow Oslo. This place is dope. And we're like, well, we were going to go to Amsterdam to Landgraf, but we were also thinking about going potentially now to Norway because you guys are telling us to go there, and we're just doing the freaking No Plans tour. Then a couple days later, same kid hits me up and he's like, yo, maybe this is the deal breaker, but your boy Torstein's going to be here. He's got a movie premiere. And I was like, what? And I look, and it's right there. And so I shoot Torstein a text, and I'm like, yo, are you going to be at the premiere in 3 days? And he's like, 100%. And I'm like, dude, we're coming. We look at Google Flights, $90 to get there, cheaper than any other flight. So it's like the universe. Out of all the flights and all the cheap ways, it's like, oh, here you go. You guys are in a budget. It's the cheapest place you can go is exactly where you're supposed to go. We rock up. We snowboard. We spend a couple days in Norway. We end up at the pre-Torstein movie premiere because he dropped another short film
Crystalline.
Prior to it.
With Mons Roisland.
Insane. Kind of breaking down more of like the heart behind the film, more of like another love story. And we end up showing up at the event. I shoot him another message. I'm like, are you going to be at this one? You're doing another movie? He's like, yeah, come through. We show up. We're freaking vibing with Torstein. We're surrounded by like complete and total heroes of ours, complete and total legends. We watch this premiere, hearing the way that he breaks down every question that he got about the universal synergy, and like feeling the way that he expresses in his heart how much the film meant to him and whatnot, like was so profound and so deep. And we end up connecting with some of our freaking childhood heroes as well, and just like it's all coming together, and we're super inspired and blah 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 blah. And then the next day we end up going to the actual premiere, and what happened? I blacked out. I don't remember who I was before this movie.
Yeah.
You have to take the mic for a couple seconds because I got to let my heart chill out just even thinking about what went down.
Well, first of all, everything that Torstein and Celia and Mons were saying during the Q&A portion of the night before at Crystalline, the first premiere.
Yep.
so much of that aligned exactly how we've been feeling, and so much of their insight we have been able to incorporate into the way that we've been living. So now, fast forward, next day, we're at Return. This is the global premiere of premieres.
Yep, the first one.
The
First
first
showing
one.
ever. The people in the movie hadn't even seen it yet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it was just the best thing that I've ever seen in my life. Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Return. Torstein, Mons, Mikey, Raibu, Brandon Cocard. Did I miss anybody?
It was just
Celia.
the most insane thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
It was trippy. It was heady. It was spiritual. Torstein did all of the music. The music aligned more perfect than anybody could possibly have imagined with the clips. Everything was to a T. It was
Torstein
unbelievable.
also did the editing.
All of the editing.
I don't know when he turned into one of the best editors in the game.
And one of the best musicians.
And one of the best snowboarders. And he also had he had the best drone work in the game. And I have watched every movie he's put out over the past 10 years that has just been getting better and better. And some of it has been experimental, where like the first FPV drone full movie style that he was putting out had a little bit crazy like warp effects, where he was still working on incorporating that aspect of filming that had never been done into snowboarding, and it was dialed this time. And from the cinematography to the long lens angles to the POV angles mixed in perfectly, like Jack said, with the music timing mixed in with the POV, with the FPV drone, was, I don't even know how to explain it. We ended up being the last ones in the theater. The thing was
by a long shot.
The thing was jam-packed. Hundreds of people. Everybody was gone. The lights were off. The lights were on, and we were sitting there meditating. We weren't even talking. We were just trying to just figure out what happened. It was the most inspired I had been, because like we're so in tune with what we do. And Torstein had been breaking down how he's doing what he feels like he should be doing, and you have these riders that he put on that he felt like should be there, and those riders felt like they should be doing, in their teamwork and the camaraderie of everything that went down. Like Torstein was almost in tears before the movie started, trying to just explain. And I know what it's like when you put your heart and your soul into something and you want people to see it and you want people to understand it. And being an editor and a filmer and a producer and a snowboarder myself, I was trying to process and break down all of the little bits of how the music was. I was like seeing Torstein making the beats, but also trying to watch the snowboarding angles. And I was trying to also pay attention to the transitions and the editing at the same time. And then I would remind myself like, oh, they're doing double cork rodeos and shit. So I'm trying to process all of this at the same time, but it's just like too much. And so like, it's one of those movies you need to watch 10 times. And we ended up just in the theater, like breaking down every little aspect of our life that we can improve on. And every time that we've wasted 10 minutes doing something that we shouldn't, or every time that we were scrolling when we shouldn't, or didn't go to bed when we should have, or just going against the nature aspect, the gut instinct that you have. And when you have the best writers and the best filmers and the best producers and editors all doing what they're doing and producing something like that, it brings out the best in you. And I just feel like I don't even know what I feel like. It was one of the most monumental experiences I've had, and to be in Norway and to be invited and to have had the core of my community guide me there was just, it was the most profound experience ever. And I don't even know how to touch on it any more than that, other than to say that everybody, November 21st needs to be, even if you're not living in Denver, needs to go to the Denver premiere, book your tickets, and go show some love and pay homage to like one of the best films, the best film that has ever entered not only snowboarding, but I feel like the action sports world as a whole. And that's just the wrap up of our synchronicity so far to get us to where we're currently still chilling in Norway right now. It's nuts.
It's more than a snowboard film.
Yeah,
for sure. It was No joke. We really did sit down after the movie after the movie ended, the movie theater completely cleared out. We sat there, meditated for maybe 10, 15 minutes, then came together and just decided we're going to just change everything. We're going to completely fix everything that we're doing, that everything that we could do better, we're going to do better. It really had a significantly profound impact on us. And we left the theater itself, and instantly we see Torstein, and we're just trying to express how that film just affected us to him.
While not crying and while not seeming just like lunatics, but
there was definitely a bit of lunacy.
Yeah, there has to be.
Yeah.
When you actually can respect something like that, and I don't know, when you just feel like you're in the place that you're supposed to be, it's a sentimental situation. I wasn't even a part of the film.
And we're in the motherland, like you said. To be in Norway, where most of those guys grew up, where Torstein grew up, it was a really, really cool place to see it for the first time. And not to mention, we were seriously close to the screen. Is that what you were going to say?
We were, yeah, that might have had a long-lasting effect on us.
Boy.
I was going to say that we had rode the indoor slope, snow all slow, that day, and was that the long lens day?
Mm-mm.
Yes, it was.
No,
it was day 2.
Day 3 was the long lens day.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we had ridden the dopest park we'd ever been, the dopest indoor slope. We were just hot.
It was day 1.
No, day 1 was the first premiere.
Oh.
So it was day 2.
Right.
We had just had the best performance day of snowboarding that me and Jack have had all season, or maybe even longer than that, but it just seemed like we had a flow and a rhythm of, like, I would film something and he would absolutely nail back 3 on, front 1 out of a donkey, and I would drop the camera, and as he was hiking up to where the camera was, I already hiked up to the top and was strapped in and was dropping, and I would do a freaking hard way cab 2 on, and it was just like we were just lacing tricks. Everything was perfect. No one was around. We were, except for a bunch of pro, like, hero snowboarders as well. So we were lapping in between Stale and Mons and all these people. It was just like the energy accumulation was just so high. Everything was just like right where it was supposed to be. It was an accumulation of everything that we had done at that point. It was just so on point. I feel like it's just been beautiful. I'm glad that we can even share these type of experiences with the viewers or the listeners to basically don't worry about being the best ever. Just worry about being the best that you can be, because you can always be better. And if you're always in competition with yourself and with your homies, then you guys are just pushing each other, and it's okay to not maybe make a film like Torstein. But if I'm good at documenting my experience and my journey, then and I love doing that, then that's what I should be doing. And it just felt like me and Jack were where we were supposed to be. We were doing what we were supposed to be doing. Shout out to Jack, by the way, has just been helping so much with behind the scenes of helping create and edit and organize files and posting and managing and just doing so much stuff. He sees like a million things that I'm doing, and he's just like, yo, I can do that. Yo, I can do that. I can do that. And I'm all, I know you got 50 things that I put you on already, but here's another 5. And this podcast ended up being a completely another one, which is the homie got me motivated from how much stuff that we've been talking about and how much synchronicity has been going on every day. We're like, dude, we need to film a pod. There's just been too many things that we got to break down that we know can help people. And that also includes tutorials that we're going to start putting out, because he's able to help film and edit those while I can edit the vlog, and we can just take turns. And to have somebody who's super like-minded and like super on point and crushes it and has a good computer and has like at least enough money to travel and not be stressed and whatnot has just been a straight blessing. So I'm fucking stoked to have you, bro. If you guys aren't already, we got to wrap this thing up by saying go follow Jack. He was claiming 3,000 followers by the end of winter or something, and I was claiming 10K by Christmas. But if you enjoyed this, go show some love to Jack across the socials. _Brewmaster, right?
That's it.
Anywhere else? He's about to drop he was editing a YouTube video today. You throwing it up on he might have a vlog coming soon.
We'll see.
We'll leave the socials in the link below. Any final words or thanks or stokes or whatever you got to shout out?
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for giving me all of these incredible opportunities. It's been the absolute time of my life, and I'm having a blast, and I can't wait to keep doing it.
We haven't even started. 35 feet in freaking Lofoten tomorrow, baby.
We're going to Lofoten.
Going to Lofoten.
We're going to see the Northern Lights. We're going to see the mountains and the glaciers and the fjords, and we're going to see your motherland.
Literally. The amount of people who have looked right at me here and just started speaking to me in Norwegian without a hiccup of a thought that I'm not a local has actually been pretty funny. But thank you guys for listening. No matter which platform you're on, if you can do something, whether it's dropping stars or sharing it or giving it a review or whatnot, the whole thing's free. We got no support going on. We got no ads and stuff. So it's just for the community. I hope you guys got something out of it. Thank you so much. Until the next one, yeah, absolutely love to hear it. Yeah, nice.
Nice.